Hello there everybody, so sorry I haven't put up a video in a while. I've been quite ill recently, but here's a new one anyway for the month of October. And so we're in October now, and this is quite a highlighted month in the calendar for us, so I thought that I'd make some videos that were a bit reflective of some of the themes that usually go along with it, and that shouldn't really be difficult considering that most of the things that we talk about here are pretty goth anyway. So in this video, I wanted to talk about one of these really essential subjects, a subject that will lend us some clarity over special objects that are in some way glamoured or tainted by a particular atmosphere that makes them stand out, and how we select these prominent items in the culture. And to do that, we're going to have to talk about this subject of potency. Potency is where a familiar subject that displays special characteristics becomes psychically glamoured by the brain with a special significance. And that psychological significance plays into the creation of a symbolic object. So to break it down easily, we could say that we have subject, speciality, and symbol. So let's take the first step. A subject is isolated. The subject can be organic or artificial, terrestrial, solar, you name it. What makes the subject important is that it possesses novelty that inspires the brain to recognize it as something other, something different, something new and interesting. And this part of the process tells us something very important about the human brain, because the brain is always on this active hunt for essentials, new and original data that it can receive in and create new maps of the world around it, thereby upgrading its matrix of knowledge that can help it to plan and strategize more effectively in the world. So the quest for essentials is important for the creation of new mental maps, yeah? And novelty provokes the brain into targeting certain subjects for the creation of those maps that upgrade our intelligence and perception about the world. So there's a deep evolutionary stratagem that underpins all of this. So let's say that, for example, we were primordial men foraging for mushrooms in an ancient forest, yeah? And while we're looking around for these mushrooms in the forest, we stumble across this very unusual plantation sticking out of the ground, and we haven't seen it before, so we decide to pull it up. And it turns out to be this really strange root that we've never seen before, this really odd thing, and that provokes a novelty in the brain. So something new has come into our frame of vision, the brain has been provoked by a novelty, and it's been stimulated by that novelty to begin to associate new patterns and new ideas about that particular subject in its frame of vision. And now the curiosity around the item is like I said before, it provoked the brain to begin associating its the parameters of the subject to other features that are already in the conscious record of the mind. And now this subject that we found takes on additional characteristics that weren't present in its original design. We could say that this mandrake root, with its short, stubby body and sprawling legs, looks a bit like a man. And so it might now become rationalized into a narrative that it was once a man who had become swallowed beneath a tree for his transgressions against the sky, something like that. What matters is that we're explaining the process through which subjects can possess these additional characteristics and how it's rooted into an evolutionary mechanism. So The subject's been accessed, it's provoked a novelty, associations have been made, new vectors of meaning have been ascribed. But we're still missing something important to round off this picture. And that's this attribution of a glamour around the novel subject that lends to it an atmospheric charge which emboldens its significance to the mind. We can notice this when we consider certain items around us in our daily life that carry a certain charge or atmospheric value to them. Is it a family heirloom that's awarded a special significance? Is it the old wedding ring of a widow? Is it a movie that provokes powerful memories from your past? Is it the glimmering sword of a fantastic work of the imagination? It could be anything. What matters is that it carries with it this ambient effect that, like the symbolic associations and narratives, awards this subject with an additional quality that is not present in the subject itself. This ambient charge around the subject is what is called the potency. A feeling that is produced by the nervous system in response to a subject of novelty. In the symbol creating processes of the mind, we automatically transfer this into the subjects, just like we do with the symbolic associations and narratives that we've already gone over. The true origin of these additional qualities, though, lies not in the subject, but in the house of our own energetic bodies. Potency is felt within us and projected into the symbolic subject, where it becomes embodied in the family of customs, myths, and memories of a particular culture. So then, that's all I really wanted to say today on the subject of potency. I wanted to make this short and sweet because once you grasp the essentials of how this works and you have a name for it, you immediately begin to recognize subjects of potency all around you. This is something that we automatically do, and it's a byproduct of our evolutionary stratagem. So, yeah, thanks very much for listening again. Like I said, I wanted to keep this short and sweet because I'm still a bit ill. I do have some really good videos planned up for this month, though, to make up for it. So that's something to look forward for all of us. So, yeah, thanks very much for watching again, and I'll speak to you again.